Hi everyone, welcome back to Asperger's from the Inside. You're here with Paul. I make weekly videos sharing the human side of autism, so make sure you hit subscribe to get the latest content. So just a quick video for you this week. It's the end of a really long, tiring week, and I have noticed that the less energy I have, the harder it is to form words with my mouth and actually talk to people. And one of the principal outcomes of this is that it's hard to be spontaneous socially, for me at least. And by spontaneous, what I mean is it happens by itself without me trying to put effort into controlling my thoughts and actions. So one of the things that I've realized ever since figuring out I was on the spectrum is that the things that become more difficult when I'm tired actually always constantly drain me a little bit of energy all the time, every day when I'm doing it, even when I'm not noticing it. So, for example, if I become sensitive to noises and loud noises or annoying noises when I'm tired, it's probably because even when I wasn't tired, those things are still taking their toll on me and still draining my energy. So what I've realized this week, the fact that when I'm tired, forming words and thoughts and responses in a reasonable time suddenly becomes more difficult. What that means is that even when I do have a lot of energy, trying to talk to people is difficult and takes energy and drains that energy that I would otherwise have. So I thought one of the reasons that I wanted to make this video on it is because if you only see me with energy, with an idea in my head, able to articulate it and express it fairly well, you might get the impression that talking is easy for me all the time. Whereas actually, I can only talk well when I'm excited about an idea, because the excitement from the idea and the energy overcomes the energy loss and drain of trying to form words to begin with. So that's one of the reasons that small talk is particularly difficult, for example, because I still have to use the energy to make the words and talk to people, but the energy I'm not getting any energy from the conversation to make it worthwhile. I realized recently that saying hello to people, I would much prefer to just give someone a wave than to actually verbalize anything at all. So I was leaving the gym this morning, and the guy behind the desk, said goodbye to me, and I put my hand up and I waved politely, and that's all fine. But I recognized the energy that it would have taken to make any form of word or sound or anything with my mouth to acknowledge that. So how hard could that be? Someone says bye and you say bye. Or someone says hello and you say hello. It doesn't sound like that would take a lot of energy, but evidently it takes enough energy for me to deliberately avoid doing those things, or at least or sometimes even unconsciously avoiding doing those things when I'm feeling really tired. Something that I've known for a while is that going out to places like pubs and noisy venues and things like that in general is really challenging, because it's hard for me to be understood by the other people around me. Part of that due to the fact already that talking is difficult, but the other part is that because my voice is fairly low, it tends to blend into the background noise, and I have to really shout a lot for other people to hear me at all, and then I lose my voice very quickly. So that whole situation isn't particularly friendly to me, because it takes away the ability to communicate with others by talking. And when it's harder to talk, naturally I'm going to talk less. when I have to put in all of this effort to verbalize something, I'm naturally going to have the tendency to either find a different solution, to wave instead of saying hello, or to communicate in some other way more times than simply responding verbally. I realized that a lot of this tendency, it's not so much that I can't do it, it's that because it takes energy, it takes me a little bit longer to do it. So if someone says hello, I have to stop what I'm doing, think about it, say hello back. And it takes a little bit longer in that sense, which means that it's not quite as fluent and gives people the impression that my social skills are worse than they actually are. I'm fairly cognizant of all the things that I'm supposed to be doing or how my actions will be perceived by other people. For me, it's more of an energy balance. How much energy do I want to put into making sure that I do what other people are expecting me to do versus how much energy do I want to save up for the things that I'm actually interested in, for the things that I actually find rewarding. I've noticed that not every autistic person has trouble talking. Some have the opposite trouble of talking all the time and too much, and having to put in the energy to filter that and to say, maybe I should think before I speak this time. And again, that's a rationing of the energy, because it takes, I can't just filter myself all the time or I'll run out of energy and won't enjoy myself at all. So just like I have to ration my energy of how much I want to talk when I'm not engaged in the conversation in a topic that's interesting, others have to gauge, is it important enough for me to subdue myself and to put a filter and to think about what I'm going to say in advance so that I make sure that my words are socially appropriate? Or should I just say the first thing that comes into my mind because that's the easiest, most relaxing, most natural way to be? So here are some thoughts on why verbal communication is a big part of socializing, and how it's, if you find it difficult, number one, you're not alone. But number two, other people can understand it. Verbal communication is only one way of communicating with people. So with my friends, for example, they will know that if I wave or if I do something else nonverbal instead of actually saying something, that's a perfectly acceptable form of communication as well. So while it makes a lot of things difficult, it makes casually meeting people in random situations difficult. Friends are not an optional extra. Friends are not something that I can choose. Do I want friends or do I not want friends? Do I want a good social network or not? Especially the older we get, the more important it is for well-being to have a solid social network to support us, for lack of a better word. So that's something that I don't have the luxury of letting go and not caring about. I need to be constantly trying to make sure that I'm connected in socially. But what it means instead is that I'm more likely to gravitate towards the kind of activities and excuses where we're not first and foremost talking, we're doing something else and we happen to be talking as well. So when I was younger, for example, that was a lot of different sporting clubs or interest groups. At university, I was in the jazz orchestra, I was in the taekwondo club, I helped run orientation programs. I did all of these things, and I met a lot of people through the activities that I was doing, because that was an excuse, that was something that we could both focus on so that my difficulty with the verbal communication wasn't quite as pronounced in that situation. Anyway, I might leave it there, but thanks for watching. Leave us a comment if this is something that relates to you and you have trouble forming words. I'm very close to the end of my energy, and saying goodbye is also something that takes energy. So If you sometimes have trouble forming words as well, then let us know in the comments, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.